Happiness doesn't depend on what you have or who you are. It only depends on what you think. This profound Buddhist proverb underscores the central idea that our inner world shapes our experience of happiness far more than external circumstances. It invites us to consider that happiness is not determined by material possessions, social status, or even inherent identity, but rather by the quality and nature of our thoughts. Let us delve into this idea, exploring its relevance, psychological basis, and practical implications for leading a fulfilling life. The illusion of external happiness. Modern society often promotes the idea that happiness is a product of external factors: wealth, success, relationships, or physical appearance. Advertisements promise fulfillment through consumer goods. Social media paints idealized portraits of lifestyles, and cultural norms celebrate milestones like promotions, marriages, and accolades as markers of happiness. However, this external pursuit of happiness is fleeting and unsatisfactory. A new car or a higher salary may bring temporary excitement, but the initial thrill often fades, leaving us seeking the next achievement or acquisition. Psychologists call this phenomenon the hedonic treadmill, a cycle of chasing pleasures without ever attaining lasting satisfaction. The Buddhist perspective shifts this narrative. It suggests that external conditions, while not irrelevant, are insufficient to create enduring happiness. True contentment lies not in acquiring or achieving, but in cultivating a mindset that enables peace regardless of circumstances. This perspective echoes the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, who abandoned his princely life to discover that neither indulgence nor deprivation could deliver happiness. It was a matter of transforming the mind. The role of thought in happiness. The crux of this proverb is the idea that thought is the architect of happiness. Our thoughts frame how we interpret the world, respond to challenges, and perceive ourselves. This notion aligns with cognitive psychology, particularly the principles of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which assert that our thoughts influence our emotions and behaviors. Negative or distorted thinking patterns such as catastrophizing, self-criticism, or excessive worry can generate feelings of anxiety, sadness, or inadequacy. Conversely, positive or balanced thinking fosters resilience, contentment, and self-acceptance. Buddhism teaches that the mind is inherently neutral, like a canvas, and our thoughts are the brushstrokes that color our experience. This is why mindfulness, a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, emphasizes observing thoughts without judgment. By recognizing unhelpful mental patterns, we can replace them with constructive, compassionate, and empowering thoughts. How what you think shapes your reality. Perception shapes experience. Two people may encounter the same situation, but react differently based on their thoughts. For example, losing a job could be seen as devastating by someone who fixates on failure and uncertainty, but another person might interpret it as an opportunity for growth and reinvention. The difference lies not in the event, but in the lens through which it is viewed. Gratitude and contentment. Gratitude is a powerful example of how thoughts influence happiness. Someone who practices gratitude focuses on what they have rather than what they lack, fostering a sense of abundance and joy. Studies have shown that gratitude practices, such as journaling or meditating on positive aspects of life, enhance well-being and satisfaction. Freedom from comparison. Much of our unhappiness arises from comparing ourselves to others, a natural tendency amplified by social media. By shifting our thoughts from envy to appreciation for our unique journey, we free ourselves from the trap of comparison. Buddhist teachings on non-attachment encourage this mindset, reminding us that our worth is not tied to external validation. Overcoming the challenges of negative thinking. While the idea of controlling our thoughts sounds simple, it is far from easy. Negative thinking often arises from deeply ingrained habits, past traumas, or societal conditioning. However, with consistent practice and self-awareness, we can retrain the mind to foster happiness. Here are some practical approaches. Mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness involves observing thoughts without judgment, creating space between thought and reaction. Through regular practice, we become less entangled in negative narratives and more present in the moment. Self-compassion. Many people struggle with harsh self-criticism, believing they must achieve perfection to be happy. Self-compassion, as taught by both Buddhism and modern psychology, involves treating oneself with kindness and understanding during difficult times, recognizing that imperfection is part of the human experience. Reframing techniques. Cognitive reframing involves challenging and altering unhelpful thoughts. For instance, instead of thinking, "I failed because I'm not good enough," one might reframe it as, "This setback is an opportunity to learn and grow." Letting go of attachment. Buddhist philosophy emphasizes letting go of attachment to outcomes, possessions, and even identities. By releasing the need to control or cling to impermanent things, we create space for peace and contentment. The science of thought and happiness. Neuroscience supports the Buddhist claim that happiness depends on what we think. Studies have shown that the brain is malleable, capable of rewiring itself through thought, and experience a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity. Practices like mindfulness and positive thinking can strengthen neural pathways associated with well-being while weakening those linked to stress and negativity. For example, research on mindfulness meditation reveals that it reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center, and increases activity in the prefrontal cortex, which governs rational thinking and emotional regulation. Similarly, gratitude practices have been shown to activate the brain's reward centers, enhancing feelings of happiness and connection. Cultivating inner happiness. The Buddha likened the mind to a garden. If left unattended, weeds of negative thought will overtake it. But with care and effort, we can cultivate flowers of joy, compassion, and wisdom. Here are some daily practices to nurture inner happiness. Daily reflection. Set aside time each day to reflect on positive moments, lessons learned, or acts of kindness. This practice trains the mind to focus on the good, even in challenging times. Altruism. Helping others shifts our thoughts away from self-centered concerns and fosters a sense of purpose. Acts of generosity, no matter how small, create ripples of happiness for both giver and receiver. Detachment from outcomes. Embrace the journey rather than fixating on the destination. Whether pursuing a goal or facing adversity, remind yourself that growth and contentment come from the process, not the result. Mindful consumption. Be mindful of the information and media you consume. Surround yourself with positivity, whether through uplifting books, inspiring conversations, or moments in nature. Loving kindness meditation. This Buddhist practice involves sending thoughts of love and compassion to oneself, loved ones, and even difficult people. It trains the mind to think more kindly, promoting inner peace. The spiritual dimension of thought and happiness. From a spiritual perspective, this proverb points to the impermanent and interconnected nature of existence. Material possessions and external identities are transient. Clinging to them as sources of happiness only leads to suffering dukkha. By cultivating thoughts aligned with universal truths such as compassion, gratitude, and acceptance, we transcend the ego and connect with a deeper sense of peace. In Buddhism, the ultimate goal is enlightenment, a state of liberation from suffering and attachment. While this may seem lofty, the path begins with small, deliberate changes in thought. Every time we choose kindness over anger, gratitude over envy, or presence over distraction, we take a step toward awakening. Conclusion: happiness is within. Happiness doesn't depend on what you have or who you are. It only depends on what you think. This timeless wisdom reminds us that the keys to happiness lie within our own minds. While external circumstances may influence our lives, they do not define our experience of joy or fulfillment. By cultivating a mindset rooted in mindfulness, compassion, and positivity, we can transform our inner world and, in turn, our reality. In a world that often prioritizes having and achieving, this proverb offers a liberating truth. Happiness is not something we chase. It is something we create. By taking responsibility for our thoughts and nurturing them with care, we unlock the boundless potential for joy that resides within us all. If you would like to learn about Buddhism, please subscribe, like, and share this video. Share your ideas with us by leaving a comment. Namo Buddhaya.